what does cancer, let's just bring that up real quick as we progress through. I always bring this up because there's so much like malarkey on cancer, so much confusion on cancer. It's incurable. Well, that's only because we are never educated on what cancer actually is. Now, all cancers are different. Some are hormonally driven, like estrogen driven. That's a different conversation, but related nonetheless. It's a lifestyle issue, essentially. Cancer, diabetes, neurodegenerative conditions, Alzheimer's, whatever you want to think of, diverticulitis, intestinal issues, leaky gut, chronic arthritis. What do all those have in common? Are they diseases the way that we think of them? Is that really accurate? No. This is cancer again. Cancer's not a disease. It's a symptom or a syndrome of toxicity. The body is toxic, and it's created an environment that feeds anaerobic organisms. Does that make sense? So essentially, the inner ecosystem, if you think of your body like a rainforest, because that's what it is, your digestive system is like an ocean, a salty ocean. That's why I recommend everybody, when you wake up in the morning, try this. 1 liter of water, 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. Try it tomorrow morning. See how you feel. See the difference. See what happens to your cravings. See what happens to your if you have nausea, if you have a headache or anything. See what happens when you do that first thing in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, by the way, I think it's valuable to understand how your body goes through its catabolic, anabolic rhythm. Let me explain that really quickly. Anabolic, does anyone know what that word means? What's that?
Cell building.
Building, right, yeah. So anabolic, anabolism is the building. So in weightlifting, for example, they're like, I need to get anabolic, right? Because I need to build. There's also catabolic, where your body is breaking down. Digestion, for example, is catabolic. You're breaking down food, right, into smaller particles for metabolism. Well, you can also break down your muscle tissue, like working out is catabolic, actually. When you sleep, you're anabolic, because that's when your tissue repairs, right? But as you're going through the waking cycle of your day, you're basically catabolic. So what does that mean? You're in a detoxification, cleansing state. Specifically from 4 a.m. to 12 noon is with that window when your body is in its most sensitive catabolic state, where it's, what's the theme of today? What is it? Releasing out, right? Right? You know, Charles, we were talking about this. He's having that experience, right? What is it? It's liquid plumber. I mean, they're just like flowing through, right? That's a good sign. That means also that we've created impactions on the intestinal walls and like mucoid plaque, undigested material, mucus, like that stuff just gets stored up. We think, where does all this stuff go? Has anyone ever wondered? Like, how can somebody eat all day long and they don't have a bowel movement for like 2 or 3 days? That's weird. Does everyone think about this stuff that I think about? Probably. I mean, but when people come to me, like I've had people, the more bigger I get into the world, I have more people coming to me like, yo, man, like, I'm kind of embarrassed about this, but like, I haven't had a bowel movement in like 7 days. It's like, whoa, like you should be having it 2 to 3 times a day, ideally. The transit time, right? From when you eat food, depending on what you're eating, like maybe 8 hours. Depending on what you're eating. If you're eating like ligament, tendon, muscle tissue, otherwise known as a random carving of an animal musculature.
Sounds like chicken.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Right? Then it's going to be a little longer, right? Fish is a little less, and fruits and vegetables, obviously, they pass through very quickly, right? So that's kind of the idea there, is that you're releasing stuff, and it's a fluctuation. It's different for every person. So I want to drive that point as we move forward here. Each person having this experience is unique. Not everyone's going to experience the cleansing, the purging process the same way. But I want to remind you guys is that that's essentially why you came here. You didn't necessarily come here to have, well, let me rephrase that. You didn't necessarily come here to have, I guess, what you would think of like the ideal experience. Like that might sound like really good in your mind, but essentially your soul called you to be here to clean up, to purge, detoxify, cleanse, and nourish yourself. And sometimes that's a slippery slope in the beginning, right? Sometimes you got to pay to play. It's kind of like Noni. Noni is one of the most amazing fruits. I'm going to get inside out on Noni tomorrow. Inside, upside down, lateral, sideways, backwards, back flipping. We're going to get into it. But Noni is a perfect example. You got to pay to play. Who had that Noni yesterday? Yeah. Just straight Noni? That's amazing, by the way. That all of you are just like, okay. Actually, it's probably good that a lot of you may not have even known what Noni was before, because if you've been in the raw food world for a while, you might have been like conditioned not to do it. You heard all the horror stories that are like, Noni's disgusting, tastes like, Dr. Scholl's foot absorber, like whatever, rotten cheese. Yeah. But you guys jumped into it. That was really exciting to see that, because it's all about getting a new experience. That's really what it's all about. So let's dive into this. You guys ready to get into the art of detoxification?